All right, we are live. Hello, everyone. Hello. I cannot believe today's the last day of June and we're moving into the energy of July. Like, it's just mind blowing. But welcome to another deliciousness soul chat. And today I have my dear soul sister who has created this powerful container that we have to talk about it so that more people can join in. So you'll find out what it is about in a second, but to begin I want to welcome Martha. Welcome, and thank you for joining me today for Soul Chat.
Thank you, Abigail. So glad to be here.
So let's start out with who are you? What do you do? What is your service in the world? For those, for the people who don't know who you are.
Yeah, that's a great question. Who am I? No. Let's see. Well, I spent most of 20 years being a clinical social worker and a therapist. And I worked for a really long time with children in the child welfare system. And 4 years ago, had a spiritual experience where I had a circle of 8 spirits come to me and tell me that I needed to start channeling a series of 8 books. So at that time, I was a supervisor for child welfare services and in a very different frame of mind. And I mean, I had plenty of spiritual experiences up to that point, but I had never channeled, and I had certainly never had 8 spirits come to me and tell me to do this. So over the past 4 years, I within 1 year of that, 1.5 years of that time, I channeled the first 3 and published those, which are reminders of ourselves as beings of the cosmos, beings of infinity, beings of this planet Earth, and they're called Living the One Light, Gaia Speaks, and the Cosmos Speaks. And then over the past 2-3 years, I've been sitting with the next set of 3, which are called Love Speaks, the Goddesses Speak, and the Gods Speak.
Oh, it already came through. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no. The titles of all 8 are very clear. the 7th and the 8th will be the Crystals Speak and the Light Speaks. But I'm not there yet. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, so over the last about 2 years ago, I channeled the first draft of Love Speaks and Goddesses Speak. I haven't started Gods Speak, but those 3 books are very related to what we're about to talk about. The symposium that we're about to talk about. So anyway, so I also I do one-on-one sessions with people to help us, ground into ourselves as beings of this planet and beings of the cosmos, and to tap into each of our own divine wisdom and divine self, and to do healing, our own healing, and then healing in the world that is both grounded in like a trauma-informed way that draws on my clinical experience, but isn't specifically therapy, and yet also incorporates connection with the spirit world. Yeah. And I in all of that, I incorporate astrology too.
Yes, I was about to say, when is astrology getting in there?
That's one of the big
part.
Yeah.
I love it. I remember reading your bio. It was after you invited me to be one of the speakers in the summit. And there's an aspect where you talked about you help people merge heaven and earth, or merge, the spiritual realm with the earth. And I was like, oh, she's speaking my language.
Yeah.
And then we got on the phone and we started talking. I was like, oh my God, this woman is amazing. Like, incredible, And so, yeah.
Same with you. So there you go.
Thank you. We're reflecting each other. So let's just dive in. Like, there's so many things that I also want to talk about, but it will flow in if it needs to come in, because there's the aspect of the books that just blow my mind. I mean, serious, I think it's always going to blow my mind, after hearing the story, and oh my gosh, it's just incredible. But the summit is just so freaking awesome. And so let's start with this. So the name of the summit is Re-Becoming the One. And what is the subtitle that goes with that? Because that's also important too.
Healing of our relationships to gender, sexuality, love, and life itself. Yeah.
Yes. Just gonna let that sit for a little bit.
Yeah.
So when did this summit drop in for you? What inspired this summit?
Yeah. Well, kind of similar to how that the 8 books came through on my birthday this year, which is March 5th. I actually got asked by Jamie Goldstein to be part of her summit, which you were on, which is how I met you. And that summit happened to start on my birthday. And I don't typically resonate that much with, these summit symposium kind of things because they often feel very out of integrity to me and very salesy and that kind of thing. But Jamie, as you know, is the opposite of that. And she's so pure, has such pure intentions. She's so grounded and real and in integrity. And so something about the way that she was holding the space for her summit made me realize, oh, wow, there is a way to do this that actually is truly about healing and about the genuine desire to help the world. And then, so on my birthday, I happened to be with some of my longtime clients. In addition, I didn't say this, but in addition, also for 5 years in the middle of being a social worker, I took a break and I did massage therapy and Reiki and body work.
Of course.
Yeah. Anyway, in my late 20s, I did that. Okay. But I maintained some of my bodywork clients. And so anyway, so these are bodywork clients who I've had now for 18 years, I guess.
Yeah.
And they live in Montecito, California. I live in Santa Barbara. And so they have this house, gorgeous, overlooking the Pacific Ocean on a cliff. So I had my hands on my client and I felt this like a bolt of lightning come through my body. And the vision of this symposium just flashed right in front of my eyes, and the whole outline of the whole thing, how it was supposed to be structured. And I was told, do it. So the idea the motivation behind it from the spirit world essentially seemed to me to be, again, a reflection of those 3 books that I've been sitting with for the past 2 or 3 years. And so the idea in the symposium is that we have a lot of healing that needs to happen with regard to gender and sexuality, both in our internal relationship to gender and sexuality, and then also obviously in our world, as we can see, very heightened, especially right this minute. And so in the symposium, what I have been trying to do is hear from different voices around various aspects of, like if we take the polarity of gender, then the reemergence and healing of the feminine, and also the healing of the masculine. But in addition, also recognizing that there is a non-binary, there is the gender fluid experience that is very real and very healing for many of us and in the world. And so also I have a lot of talks that deconstruct our concepts around gender, and that specifically talk to the non-binary experience and how healing that is in our world. And also all of the talks, my intention with all of it was to be very consciously inclusive of and acknowledging of experiences of any gender identity and any sexual orientation. So a lot of what I've seen in the world with regard to gender and sexuality, especially in the spiritual world, is pretty heterocentric and cisgender centric, which doesn't work for me. So I respect a lot of what is going on already, but it doesn't feel good to me to have it be, focused on I as a woman heal myself you as a man heal yourself, and then we magically come together and have the perfect heterosexual union. Like, that could happen, and that's beautiful and that's wonderful, and that doesn't include all of humanity. So I tried to be really, really careful to include voices of people who have a whole range of gender identities and a whole range of sexual orientations, and then just hold the space in general with the knowing that all of us might be fluid in the way that we express or the way that we feel about ourselves, and it might change from moment to moment, and we are everything. Re-becoming the one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It was so powerful, because I know my talk was about sacred union. It was really about the divine masculine, divine feminine coming together. But what does that even mean, in this fluidity, right? And I know I wasn't the only one who talked, with that voice, but it was just so cool hearing the different perspectives that came through. It just, some of the talks were just like, whoa, okay, I just need to like take a break and breathe a little bit, and then I'll come back and listen again, like, and you brought together, let's see, was it 43?
42, yeah.
42 speakers, powerful, amazing speakers that showed up in their fullness and in all their light and wisdom. It just incredible, and I wanted to go back real quick, how you were talking about the summits, like I don't want to create like summits like everyone else. And it is true. When I experienced Jamie, I was like, oh, this is how it should be, and then yours. And so now both of you, I'm like, yeah, I'm not going back to regular summit. Like, that's not going to work. This is what it should be like. So going back to your summit, what would you say, what would be the intention you had behind it as you birthed it into the world?
I think the ultimate intention is that I want to be like one little drop in the world of helping us come back to the reality that we are whole, that we are one. It's very cliche, but it's also true. I think one of the things that happened for me over the course of recording the talks, and then, really actually holding the space for the summit itself, I had a lot of grief come through. Like I had a few experiences where I would be praying, or I'd just be having a moment on my own, and out of nowhere, I would just start sobbing, like crying so hard. I mean, I think you could probably relate to this one experience I had where I was just lying there praying in my bed. I do this every morning. I pray, as I'm waking up, and I felt myself in the cosmos, and I just started crying out of nowhere. It felt like I was crying as the earth. I mean, whatever. I was crying as me, but like, it was like the grief of almost our planet for how we have forgotten, like, that there's so much suffering on this planet that is really all about us forgetting that we are perfect and that we are whole, and that we can't be anything other than whole. It's not possible. And yet we suffer so much on so many levels because we don't feel that. And so I think my ultimate goal is to have even the tiniest chance of helping us each remember. I mean, I need reminders of that too. It's like, I'm not separate. I'm human, right? And then I would say the secondary goal is that as we address healing around gender and sexuality, that it also has ripple effects into any and all healing that this planet needs, such as, and I draw these connections actually on the last day of talks in this symposium. So the connection between healing of gender and sexuality to racial justice and environmental justice and peace. Like, a lot of war, I would say, is really steeped in not healed gender dynamics, like the idea that men need to feel valuable by feeling powerful, and therefore they want to bomb things. Um, I don't know. Right. Yeah. And so actually, even after this symposium is over, I am going to be interviewing additional people throughout this year. And I just this morning spoke to an amazing woman. Maybe you want to connect with her, but her name is Terlyn Curry Avery. She is an ordained minister and a clinical psychologist. And she just wrote a book called Dismantling Racism. And so she does, and she incorporates psychology, spirituality, and anti-racism work. And so I'm going to be interviewing her in a couple of weeks, just like sort of as an add-on. Like I'm going to keep,
yes,
once a month, I'm going to keep doing this. And one of the big things that I feel like I really want to explore more is racial justice issues. It's really deeply important to me. So, and I think is very tied to, the gender and sexuality stuff too.
Exactly. Yeah. And one of the things I love about your summit is that it is, I'm going to call it a living summit because it's going to continue. Like you can have access to it. Jamie's summit was the Mercury retrograde summit. And up till now, it's like, Mercury retrograde is coming. I'm going to pop in there and I will get the message that I need that will support me through it. And I love that you've structured it that way so people have access to it continuously. And then now, you're going to be adding more to it. So it's just going to continue to grow and nourish us, so far as we are willing to be like, okay, I'm going to go check it out. What do I need to hear today, Spirit? Because, I mean, you look at all the speakers, you're like, where do I even begin? I want to listen to all of them at once,
I know. Honestly, I think it's too much, but I think it's what it was meant to be. Like I've said this before. When it first came through, the spirit world said to me, it's gonna be about 40 speakers, and I was like, no. First of all, that's insane. Second of all, I've never done anything like this. There's no way 40 people are gonna want to do this with me. And so I was like, I'm gonna have a goal of 20 to 25, and then it ended up being 42, and I was like, oh wow. Okay. Like what in the world?
And growing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think it was meant to be what it was meant to be. But if I were giving advice to anyone doing this, I would say stick with 20 to 25. However, if the spirit world wants you to have it be whatever they want it to be, it will be that. So also give it up. Like give up control.
Yeah. And you went through quite a I'm going to say up leveling or expansion. There we go. As you were interviewing us and getting the summit prepared, like you went through your own growth.
Oh, yes, definitely huge. I think I said to you guys that after each one changed me. Each interview with each of you literally changed me, and healed me. And, after interviewing maybe 2 or 3 of you, I would just crash. Like I would have to sleep because my body would have to integrate it because it's so powerful. Like each one, like you're amazing. Like you, specifically you, are such an amazing being, and I mean, clearly this is for the world, but it was also meant for me, obviously.
Yes.
And and I have learned and changed and grown so much. I mean, on so many levels. Yeah.
Absolutely. I remember you telling us that you had to take so many naps. I was like, oh yeah, I
bet. Yeah, for real. Oh,
I love that. Let's see here. Which direction should we go? Okay, so let's go here and then we'll see what else comes in. How can people sign up for the summit, and what kind of people is the summit for?
Yeah, to sign up, you go to my website, which is livingtheonelight.com. And on the main page, there's a link to the summit. It's also, anyway, it says free summit, free symposium at the top. You can click on that too. livingtheonelight.com. And who it's for, I would say it's for anybody, but especially anybody who wants to change your relationship to yourself and therefore change the world. Anybody who, what's so fascinating to me is that I was expecting that the majority of people who would sign up for it would be people in their late 30s, 40s, maybe 50s, maybe identify somewhere in the queer realm of something, or maybe not, but open to that. What ended up happening is I put out a survey to the attendees, and a lot of people filled out the survey. A lot did. And I think about 70 to 80% of the people who filled out the survey were cisgender, white, heterosexual women in their 60s, 70s, and 80s.
Oh, fascinating.
Yes, amazing. And in addition, I can't even explain how many of these amazing, beautiful women have written to me and said, I am 84 years old, and I did not think that, it's just like one example, right?
Yes.
I'm 84 years old. I did not think this kind of a symposium would be for me, for someone like me. I'm heterosexual and I identify as a woman. And so I didn't sign up for it, but then I kept getting emails from people I really respect asking me to sign up. So then finally I did. And I'm so grateful I did, because I did not realize how limited my thinking has been. And I realize now, even at age 84, how much I can change, and how much me changing will change the world and will change the lives of people I love. And I mean, wow, so
that's incredible.
I don't know. I think, I think it's for you if it calls to you, because
yes,
I can't really predict who it's for. Yeah. But I'm blown away by people. Mm-hmm.
And I love that the people who signed up for it, they were very involved. Like, you got a lot of messages,
yes.
Really heartfelt, moving messages. I remember you shared some of them with us.
Yeah.
And I think it's because you were all in. You were inclusive. That's the intention that you set. And so that's the energy that kind of just vibrated through the entire experience. Like, you shared with us, like, how you had to take more naps, how you were growing, and you shared with us how you were crying all the time, like that. I respected that vulnerability so much, and it allowed me to show up even more fully, to be seen, however I am. And I'm sure a lot of people felt that same energy, and they felt comfortable and safe to reach out and share. So I wanted to, share that with you, because it was powerful. It was beautiful too. Like, you really, that inclusivity vibrated through the entire experience and continues to. Yeah.
So that I think that's my number one. Like, a couple of people have asked me, what would you keep the same in the future? And that both times when these people have asked me that, my answer has been the quality of the relationships, the quality of my relationship to the speakers and also the participants. That is, I'm realizing, my number one priority. Like, way beyond numbers or money or any of it, is the genuine love, actually, between us.
Exactly. And you even showed it, because I know before the summit, like, a couple of the speakers were able to get together with you. And it was just beautiful getting to know each other and hearing from each other and seeing each other. Like, it was so cool. And then the opening ceremony, we're able to come together and create magic together. Like, it was so, and then at the end, you had the panels where we got it. It was so awesome. I've never experienced any summit like that. It was so amazing. Yeah. Thank you for saying yes. And thank you for creating such a container for, the speakers and also the participants, to really come in and receive the true medicine that this summit came with.
Thank you. thank you for your power and your beauty. And like every time, I mean, it wasn't just, when I was recording your talk with you, I mean, that was amazing, of course. But then when you were there for the opening ceremony and you were there for one of the panels at the end, I mean, you would open your mouth and just you would come through, I was like, you're so
You crack me up.
no, seriously.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Anyway, it's beyond words. Yeah.
It truly is.
I really appreciate you. And
I
who you are.
appreciate you too. Like this soul chat was inspired by there's so many incredible people that I've met online that it's as if I've met them in person and they continue to move me. And so I was like, I got to get her on there. Like she moves me every day, and inviting more people to get to know these amazing people and so they can go and check them out, work with them, because that's what we need more of this in the world. We need more of this authentic, true, heartfelt connections, so yeah.
Yeah. Can I just add one thing?
Yes.
I got an email this morning from another speaker, and she was saying that she was just like saying thank you so much, but similar to kind of what you're saying, that it felt very inclusive and all that. But one thing she touched on that I also realized is so important to me in what I do and what we all do in the world is, these weren't exactly her words, but anyway, this touched, what she said to me touched on this in me.
Yeah.
So I'll just say it. Again, I have heard from a lot of the participants, and I hope I continue to hear from participants, because a big part of the way that I feel called to move forward in the world, and that one of the ways I think our world hopefully will move, is that we get away from a sense of hierarchical, like guru relationships. So for example, you and I are beings who happen to feel very connected to source and all that, and we're here certainly to hold space to help people in that way, of course, right? And at the same time, I really value having a sense of equality with my colleagues like you, and also people who might be clients or participants. Or each of our voices is so needed, and all of the wisdom that our world needs is only going to come through each of us. Like each of us has that one little puzzle piece that can only come as us. So one of the things that, again, is absolutely key to me is that even as people are signing up for this, for each person's voice to have a place, either directly, emailing me or emailing you or saying something on a Facebook, whatever it is that like is really important for me to have a back and a forth, and a community that grows.
Yes.
Yeah, where all the voices and all the wisdom can come through. And I mean that's way beyond me. Like that's happening in all kinds of ways, but I want to at least foster that reality. Yeah.
I love that. Like the aspect of creating more community, that heart-centered, authentic, just deep, like soulful kind of community has definitely been highlighted for me this year as well. Like me being in communities like that, and also creating, or I should say trying to, because it's a process, it's a journey. It's definitely been highlighted for me this year, and I know it will continue, because it is kind of like the energy that we're flowing in currently. We need more of that. We need to be in communities, in groups that nurture us, that allow us to be all that we can be, so we can feel safe to show up, as who we really are. Yeah. So before I let you go, your books, where do people get that? Because we're not letting that go. Where can people buy your books?
If you want the paperback version, they're on Amazon. under my name, under Living the One Light. I mean, the first one is called Living the One Light, and they're kind of all connected there.
Yeah.
Or if you want ebook version, you can get that through Kindle on Amazon or on my website at livingtheonelight.com.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. See, don't take our word for it. Like, the link is above. Go click on it. Sign up for the summit. It doesn't matter when you do it. It's going to be available. And once you see the speakers and you start diving in, you'll be like, okay, thank you. Thank you. It is so worth it. So worth it. And it continues to grow. And it's such a blessing to the world at this time. Like, now that I think, I'm like, oh my gosh, that was perfect timing.
It was weirdly perfect timing. I mean, really strange. And
yeah, absolutely. It is so needed. So go check it out. Go sign up for it. And then, share it with others who, who will benefit, who could benefit from it too. This is wisdom that will be around. So don't be like, oh, I missed the date, or no. Go check it out and listen to the amazing speakers on there, and reach out to Martha. Get to know her. Get to know more about her work. Trust me, she's delightful to talk with. Like, seriously. And all of us speakers will agree on this. Like we could have talked forever in our segments, and it's all because of her. Her ability to hold such safe space, and she holds so much wisdom. You can feel it. I hope you can feel it, like even right now. Such ancient, deep wisdom that she shares with the world. So don't be shy connecting with her, and send her a message.
Don't be shy. I really, really love hearing from people. Like, really, really. Yeah.
But thank you so much, my dear, for joining me for this soul chat. And thank you for creating this amazing summit. Thank you.
Thank you for shining your soul into the world, and your baby.
Of course, he had to make an entrance, right?
Yeah. And he joined us for our talk too, which
yeah, he did. That's true.
He did. And I'm a mom of 2 kids, so I totally get it, and I love it.
Yeah. Oh, well, everyone, thank you so much for joining me for another beautiful soul chat. I hope you're enjoying this. I hope you're reaching out to all the amazing, beautiful people that I've brought on so far. And until next time, from our hearts to yours, and have a fabulous end of June and the beginning of July. Bye, everyone.
No.